CNN dismantles race and equality team amid DEI disbandments. You didn't think we'd notice? CNN has moved to dismantle its acclaimed race and equality team as DEI programs across the country have been eliminated. A world news leader. Here's a news flash for you. We see you and we know what's going on.
With millions watching and many people benefiting from this program called Indisputable, we just need 1% of the viewers to become a paid member so we can continue to bring this content to you. Now back to the show.
According to journalist Phil Lewis, the network disbanded the team of 3 reporters on Wednesday, July 10th, as Mark Thompson, CNN's chief executive, announced that the channel is laying off 100 employees. Thompson stated that the layoff would be a move to restrategize and rethink the company's news gathering procedures, detailed as a one newsroom concept. Who's included in that one? Just asking for a friend. Deadline reports that CNN's one newsroom strategy would merge both linear and digital news gathering into one. Vibe filling in the details for us. A CNN spokesperson speaking to Lewis denied that the race and equality team would be disbanded amid layoffs and instead would be fully and completely incorporated into CNN's future vision. You mean like they're doing now? Maybe they'll hire Amber Rose. Spokesperson insisted that the investment is still 100% there. Right. But the unnamed person did confirm that the team no longer existed as it initially began, adding, for all intents and purposes, the team is not a team anymore. Okay? They're assigned to different areas so that their perspective and work is brought into all of our types of programming. It's not a unit in the way it was before, but race and equality is very much still their focus. Maybe that's a typo. Maybe he meant race and inequality. Just a thought. One reporter from the race and equality team was laid off as part of the disbanding. The other 2 reporters will now be reworked into different roles throughout the CNN newsroom. CNN's award-winning team was first created in 2020 in the aftermath of police officers murdering George Floyd. Companies across various industries ramped up their DEI efforts as a response, with CNN using their race and equality team to cover America's racial reckoning, as detailed by the outlet. Apparently, CNN believes that equity and inclusion is kind of like Fashion Week. What was in last season is not in now, so we'll just move on. Only it's about certain people's very existence, very being. Fashion Week. Not in fashion anymore. That was last season. In related news, Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav, parent company of CNN, was asked about the presidential election. Zaslav told reporters that it was more important to him that the next president is business friendly rather than which candidate wins. That's per Bloomberg. We just need an opportunity for deregulation so companies can consolidate and do what we need to be even better, he said. Another typo, I suspect. He meant even richer, so that we can do what we need to do to be even richer and take care of the American worker, but not in the way you want to be taken care of. Less money, less regulation, less safety, and less diversity of thought in Mr. Zaslav's case. He's previously said that WBD-owned CNN needed to become a news network that presents both sides of every political issue rather than being a left-leaning advocacy network. Is race right or left? How about just truth? If he would have said, can we just have the truth? That probably would have been okay with me, but that's not what he said. There's not both sides of a racist. There's only a racist. And unfortunately, that's how they're covering someone. I think you know who. Last year, Zaslav defended CNN's decision to host a town hall with Donald Trump, saying that Trump, as the Republican frontrunner, has to be on our network. Wow. Let's go to June of last year. Warner Brothers Discovery laid off Karen Horn, a diversity, equity, and inclusion executive. She probably didn't have much to do there, hands tied. But you still got rid of her, huh? Just a symbol of her being there. Here's a look at a couple of DEI eliminations from around the country for context. Companies like Wayfair, Meta, Tesla, Lyft, Home Depot, DoorDash, X, Twitter, all made cuts to their DEI teams in late 2023, with more eliminations following in 2024. Washington Post reported in February. CNN reported in March that the U.S. House Office of Diversity and Inclusion, first created in 2020 to create a congressional workforce that reflected America's diversity, would be dissolved as a part of a government spending bill. So those companies I named, you're buying things from them, you're getting deliveries from them, you're getting a lift from them. Just wanted to let you know what was going on with them. And now you know. Yeah. So a little bit more before I get to the mayor, just a little bit. Who are you, CNN? Well, Mayor, let's start there. I think I've said plenty to turn it over to you. I'm disgusted because media, I believe, is the number one shaper of minds and misfires. The media tells little young children who they are, who they're supposed to be, who they're supposed to hate. That's what the media does. It is that important and sometimes that dangerous. Am I taking it too far?
No, not at all. Listen, we have to all be alarmed when we see a leader of a company like CNN say that they have to have Donald Trump on there. They need to put both sides on their network. What he's really telling us is journalism and the courage to be honest about journalism has died on that network. And it's more about viewership. And we see them actively working towards getting more Republican eyes on their network. It started with the debate when they refused to fact check anything Donald Trump said. We watched Joe Biden last night in an interview with Lester Holt called them out, not just Lester Holt, but this is the media at large. Why aren't you talking about the fact that this man told a lie every 1 minute and 17 seconds? CNN refused to check that. And then right after that, we watched them run media segment after media segment on show after show, breaking news every show that Joe Biden needs to drop out and that is a wall of support that is falling around him. This is painting a narrative to make sure that you have Republican eyes. You're no longer chasing facts like journalists should. You're now chasing eyes like donors and dollars are the most important thing to you. So what we see now is CNN stepping full-throated into the fact that the only thing that matters to them is no longer the news, it's the bottom line.
You're so right. It used to be in the old days, and it wasn't exactly my time. I'm not that old, but I study media, Mayor. And I remember when Channel 2, WBBM in Chicago, hired Jerry Springer and said, let's go for ratings. Let's put Jerry Springer on the news. Carol Marine, I think it was Ron Majors, the star anchors in Chicago said, we're done. They walked away from their powerful, and in those days, multi-million-dollar contracts and said, this isn't journalism, we're done. And I like Jerry Springer, may he rest. But that's who the old journalists were. I'm not going to say this. I'm not going to do this. I'm just going to go with the truth. Instead, some of the journalists I respect are delivering the line over at CNN because it's not about journalism. It's not about media. Fools like me care about media and the responsibility, the heavy weight. No, Mayor. It's about my check, my family, and my prominence. I want to be on the news. I want to be on the cables in prime time. That's honestly, Mayor, that's the way I feel about it. I'll give you one other tidbit. According to an April report from the National Review, the University of Texas at Austin is shutting down its DEI division. That move will demote DEI deans back to professors, with some DEI-oriented positions being, you guessed it, completely phased out. Fox News reported in May that along with the University of Texas, 158 colleges have moved to disband DEI programs. One professional told the outlet the reason for the anti-DEI crusades is due to a really significant public choice conundrum bill. Because I think I get it, Mayor, but I want to go ahead and tip my hat to you and let you tackle it.
Yeah, I mean, let's be clear. When they say this really significant public choice, it basically means whatever the majority wants. And so what we find ourselves is, as long as white people approve you talking about blackness and what it means to talk about equity, then it's okay. But the minute white people can no longer stomach or aren't willing to face the fact that America has a history that is not checked, then it's no longer okay to be in our institutions. The fact that 158 colleges have went along this route means that Black kids at these colleges are no longer safe. What they do, it is already awkward enough to be a young Black child in predominantly white institutions. Now, without the protection of DEI or the office trying to force people to understand what it means to be Black in these spaces, what you have done is you've put Black people in a dangerous space. And I won't use the words that what I was going to say, because of the climate we find ourselves in.
Yeah. You know, when Nixon was being investigated, just because I'm a history buff, and he didn't like where this Watergate thing that eventually kept him from the presidency, this Watergate investigation was going, he tried to pull out all the stops to get these networks, and there was only the big three, and probably the Washington Post under control. They were threatened, antitrust, a lot of things went down, but they kept applying the brakes. And that doesn't mean that there weren't people at these networks who say, hey, sure we know what we're doing here. But ultimately, we have to give them credit. They followed the journalism. They followed the journalism. That's not what we saw on CNN with that disastrous debate. You try looking over to your right and having a liar spit out lie after lie after lie after lie. The mayor calculated every minute or whatever it was. When his lips were moving, he was lying, okay? Grandma used to say that about teenagers. You try to keep your thoughts together when nobody's checking that, okay? You're wrestling a bear with bone spurs. And you're also taking rapid fire from two people who just put on nice clothes and sat there. Why did we need Dana Bash and Jake Tapper? Well, I could have had some interns, and I don't mean to disparage the interns. They could have just read questions off the internet and said, here on X, somebody wants this, Truth Social has this life, where you go. That's what they could have done. Why did you put on this whole production? We could have streamed it, and that would have been fine. Get it together, but let's not call it media. It's not media. It's not journalism.